Welcome back. I'm Tanealyakimbeauty and this is MIlani Beauty. In this video, we're going to be doing swatches and a look with the Beige Cosmetics REMIX Dance 90s palette. I've already done the 80s palette, so we're going to do the 90s palette in this video, and then the next video we're going to do the 2000s. I'm not going to do like a whole lot of talking in the intro since I did talk about the palette in the video that I did for the 80s. Let's go ahead and dive right on in and get to these swatches so we can jump into the look. Once again, I'm going to go from left to right and then up and down. So we've got No Scrubs, Wannabe, Jiggy, and Be My Lover. Now, these four right here are pretty much like all neutrally shades. That's what they look like. These probably won't show up that strongly in a swatch. Okay, that one is looking pretty good. Some of these look like they're kind of like my skin tone match, like that one. So they may not show up as well. All right, that shimmer right there, that's really, really pretty. All right, next we have Supermodel, Say My Name, Heartbreaker, and Can't Touch. Super bright pigmented. We have like another pink here. It looks similar to the one in the 80s palette. Okay, that is a beautiful shimmer. Green swatched a little bit patchy. All right, so that's that row. All right, next we have Hit Me Baby, Genie, Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera there, La Vita Loca, and what does that say? Show Me Love. I will say right away that the shades, the formulas in this palette, they are not as smooth as in the first palette, and they're not swatching as well either. See that? It's like these are a little bit patchier. I'm not really, it's like the pigment is not fully there. Okay, that's a gorgeous shimmer. So is that. See, the shimmers are really, really good. But the matte so far, they're not swatching really, really well. You know, once again, the way shades swatch in a finger swatch may not necessarily be indicative of how they look on the eyelids. So they may blend beautifully on the eyelids and while they're not swatching very well. So let's go ahead and move on. 3 more shades. We have Too Sexy, Right Said Fred, Creep, and I'm Blue. See, those are really pretty shimmers right there. 1, 2, and 3. So that is all 15 shades swatched. The shimmers, the metallics, they all swatched absolutely beautifully, creamy, buttery. The mattes were what I had an issue with. All of the mattes that I swatched, all were a little bit patchy. None of them swatched smoothly, but we'll see what happens when I get ready to put together my look. Hopefully in the actual eye look, they will blend better than they swatched. Once again, I'm going to prime my eyelids with my MIlani Conceal and Correct. I just went on ahead and used all the same base products that I used in the first video as far as concealer and foundation and powder. It just makes it easier to edit and to put together my description boxes. So let me tell you real quick my blush and highlight details. The blush that I'm using today is the Monochromatic Duo Brush from Cover FX. It is the Spiced Cinnamon, and the shade I'm using is this one, which is the matte shade. I just thought that was a really pretty tone for what I plan on putting together today. And for a highlight, I am using the Becca Shimmering Face Powder. This shade is in Opal. So that is what that one looks like. Just a really pretty champagne-y gold shade. I thought that was like really, really pretty on my cheekbones. But let's go ahead and dive into this look. Since I focused on blue and pink for the first look, I think with this one, I'm going to do green and kind of this orangey peachy shade right here. So Say My Name on the outer corner and Can't Touch towards the middle. I'm going to go ahead and lay down Can't Touch first and kind of make my way towards the outer part of the eye. So these swatches did not swatch very well, and I'm hoping that when I actually do this look that everything blends better on the eyelid than it did in the swatches. So far this shade right here is blending better. I'm getting a little bit more pigment. It's not patchy or anything like that so far on the lid, the way that it was coming off in the swatch. So That's good. Yeah, that's one of the first things to know when it comes to eyeshadow and swatching and all that stuff, is that you can swatch and the shades could be just powdery, not pigmented, don't do a thing, but then you put them on your eyelids and they blend like butter. And so far, this is actually blending much, much better than it did in the swatch. Very, very happy about that. And it's building up really nicely too, so that's good. Now I'm going to take that green Say My Name shade and kind of put that towards the outer corner. So how are you guys doing today? Today it is Monday, May 25th as I'm filming this. You're probably seeing this about a week after I filmed it. I am currently still waiting to hear back about my car. If you guys follow me on TikTok, then you know what's going on. I talked about it over there. I was supposed to get my car back last Friday. Okay, first of all, this shade, first of all, it's not a true matte. There's like a little bit of shimmer to it, if you can see that. It looks very matte in the palette and very matte in the swatch, but on it's like got a little bit of a shimmer to it. That's interesting. And it's not as pigmented as the other shade is coming off, but it's building, so we'll see. But like I was saying, I was supposed to get my car back last Friday. They had sent me a text message Thursday telling me that all the parts are back on. They just needed to calibrate the something distance sensor or something like that. Well, Friday came, about 1:30, I still hadn't gotten an update. So I sent them a text asking my car is going to be ready. And then she calls me back about 10 minutes later and says that when they went to park the car, they noticed when they were turning that when they turned right, it was creaking. It was like a little creaking, cracking sound. It was doing that before. This is a 2020. I just got this car like last August. So I was like, no, it was not doing that before. So they ended up taking it to the mechanic that they use, which is like right up the street. And the mechanic said it was something to do with the suspension on the passenger side of the car. They told me like the parts and details, but I can't remember exactly. So basically now their Progressive is going to go up to the mechanic today to see what they're talking about as far as what needs to get done so that we can get an estimate on that. And so now I have to wait for that to be finished. So it could be like another week before I get my car. So at this point, it's been about 3.5 weeks. Could be another week. I don't know. Hopefully I'll hear something by the end of today. I don't know what's going on. Hopefully by the time you're actually seeing this video, I'll be back in my hey and back on the road in my own vehicle. This is a pretty shadow. The shade is pretty, but can you see right there? It's definitely patchy. I'm not very, very happy with how this shadow is going on. In the Naughty and Nice palette that came out last Christmas, that Lunar New Year palette, there's like a really pretty green in that one. Buttery, smooth, pigmented blends. Just this one is not the same formula. This formula in this palette, I can tell it's a little more patchy. It's definitely not quite the same. I mean, you can see we're not getting that intense pigment in either one of these shades. There was more pigment in the first palette as far as like the intensity. There was not as much patchiness or anything. The shades so far in this one, I don't like as much as I did in the first one. I'm just going to sit here and work on this outer part and see if I can build it up some more, and then I'll come back and we'll throw on our shimmer. All right, well, I think I have built this up and done as much with those two shades as I'm possibly going to be able to do. So let's go ahead and move on to the shimmers. I want to like put all of these on. Like I just want to put every single shimmer in this palette on my eyelid all at once, but I can't do that. So let's see, what are we going to do? I think I'm going to take Creep, which is the purple one, kind of put that towards this outer part and blend that into Too Sexy in the inner part. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And then I might take Supermodel or Be My Lover and put that in the inner corner. One thing I would say about this palette is I don't have that chunkier, lighter shade that was in the first palette, the one that I had to wet in order to get, the smooth intensity. All the shimmers in this palette are pretty smooth, and I don't think I'm going to have to do that. So let's start with Creep, and then we'll move into Too Sexy. Okay. All right. That is a pretty shimmer. And that's actually going on pretty well with a brush without me having to wet it. This is my Joa flat shader brush. This is one of my favorite brushes to use for applying a shimmer. And this one is definitely going on pretty smooth. intense, it's shiny, it's got a little wetness to it. It's going on without me having to use a tacky base or wetting my brush. That's pretty. That is a pretty shimmer. So other than waiting on my car, today I'm going to put together this tall bookshelf that I got. I have a shorter bookshelf that came out of my son's room. What I ended up doing was getting him a new one because the one that he had was cracked on the top, and I tried to fix it by getting some longer screws, and the screws were too long and it ended up kind of breaking it. So I just brought it into my room as a temporary thing to use for my backup makeup and beauty products and skincare and all that jazz. But I'm realizing there's not enough room on it, so I need more storage space. And even though we're planning on moving sometime in the next year, even if we don't put it in our bedroom or use it in my beauty space or something, we're going to get use out of it. If you guys have been following my channel, you know that we have all these like collectors, Funko Pops, toys, stuff like that. We will definitely get a use for it. All right, now I'm going to take Too Sexy and throw that towards the inner part of my eye. This is a really pretty orange shade. I absolutely love anything that's orange. I love corally shades. I'm interested in seeing how this shade compares to the ones in the Sweet Shop, the orange palette. Seeing that intensity and shimmer is still there. All right, that's pretty. It's actually going on really smooth. I think I might not put an inner corner highlight in. This shade seems to be bright enough on its own without me needing to do that. I'll just kind of take it further in towards the inner part of the eye, in that inner corner, and just blend it in. I went on ahead and I grabbed the Orange Sorbet palette, the Sweet Shop one from Beige Cosmetics. I want to compare this shimmer to one in here, Yum and Citron. I just want to see if it's kind of like the same kind of formula and if they swatch similar to each other. Because you see these palettes right here, these Sweet Shop palettes, you guys, these were one of the most beautiful formulas, just in general. They were absolutely gorgeous. They came out last summer. I got the orange one and the red one. I wanted to get the pistachio one, which was the green one, but it kept selling out before I could get it. I'm hoping that they'll restock them again, but I don't know. Now I'm going to swatch Too Sexy. I just want to compare it to these. All right, so these two are out of the Sweet Shop, and this is Too Sexy. Okay, so it's definitely a different shade as far as orange is concerned, but as far as that intensity, as far as the shine, the formulas felt very similar to each other, so happy about that. I'm gonna go off camera, do my liner, my lashes, my lips, and then we'll come back and we'll do some final thoughts about this palette, and I do have some thoughts. Lashes, lips, liner, all that jazz is done. For my lower waterline, I used one of these Neon Shockwave liners from LA Girl. This was part of my Ulta haul. It's just a really pretty neon-y yellow. I didn't have anything like that, so I wanted to go ahead and grab that. I picked up a couple of other neon shades as well. My lashes are from Ardell. They are the Ardell Professional Wispies. I got a pack of 5. This was also in my Ulta haul. It's just a really pretty nice fluffy lash. I'm loving the way that it looks. And for my lips, I'm using the Full Spectrum Covergirl Matte Idol and Tyrant. I don't usually do a super intense red lip like this when my eye look is this bright and intense. But since we're doing a 90s themed kind of a look going on, I decided to go all out. Super intense. I love the shade. I love this formula. Overall, I like the way the look came out, but let's go on ahead and do some final thoughts on the palette. Now for my final thoughts. I love the whole aesthetic of the palette, the 90s theme. I think they did a really good job where that's concerned. The formula, however, I'm not as impressed with. The shimmers were beautiful. Every single one of them, like I said, they swatched absolutely gorgeous. You can see the shiny wetness going on. I had no problem with putting them on my eyelids. I didn't need to use a tacky base. I didn't have to wet them, use a glitter primer, adhesive, anything like that. They went on very smooth, very creamy. You can see the intensity is there. I love that. Where I did have an issue with was the mattes, at least the ones that I used. All of them swatched kind of patchy. Today I used Say My Name and I used Can't Touch. Can't Touch blended pretty well. Like for like an overall peachy look, I think this would be absolutely beautiful. The shade that I really had an issue with though is Say My Name. This one, first of all, it's not a matte. It's got a little bit of luminescence to it, which, you know, I don't mind. But it did take a good minute to build up the intensity and to kind of blend it out. Formula wise, where the mattes are concerned, I wasn't too impressed with this palette. When it comes to whether or not you need this palette, if you're looking for the aesthetic and you like the little 90s theme, then I'd say go ahead and get it. But if it's for the shades and the formulas, you can put together this look with any other palette. I'm sure you probably have something already in your collection with better formulas that you can use to put the look together that I use today. So like I said, if you would like, if you want it for the aesthetic reasons, okay, but for formula, for color story, I would say where that's concerned, you could skip it. Be sure to look out for the next video in the series where I'll be putting together a look using the 2000s palette. That will either go up next week or the week after. We will just have to see like how my filming schedule goes. If you're new to my channel and you're not already subscribed, I would love it if you hit subscribe and join my little family. And if you'd like to be notified of any videos that may be coming up in the future, just be sure to tap the notification bell down below. Also be sure to follow me on Instagram and TikTok. I post about every other day on Instagram, and I post 2 to 3 times a day on TikTok when I'm able to. Be safe, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.